Hello everybody and welcome to our NHL 18 roster customization videos, or video. In this video, I'm just going to be showing you guys the created players I have, just because I feel like a roster update is going to come out really soon. So I'd rather add in those players, because college free agents just got signed, right? I think Christopher Brickley, I think is his name. I forget. He's a defenseman. He's about to be signed. I think he's visiting LA and stuff like that. But I know Casey Middlestat was just signed and guys like that. So I'd rather include those into the mix. So right now all I have is just like pretty much the players that are in my Vancouver GM mode, as well as other stuff. For the Vancouver GM mode, I didn't do much editing of rosters, just some prospects and things like that were available in the game. That was pretty much all I did. So for the next GM mode, once the roster update comes out, I'm going to edit that and add players in, and more players than what you see right now. But I figured, because someone commented almost a couple weeks ago now, I'll get into that in just a second. And he asked for this video, so this is for him, or her. I think it's a him, though. And so, just full disclosure, I've really tried to get this video out the last few days. It's just been brutal. Currently, as I'm recording, it's Tuesday, the 27th of March. I don't know what's been going on. Just the audio has been cutting out randomly. So like I'll be in the middle of talking about something and then boom, just out of nowhere, just go silent for a couple seconds, and like you can see, the levels, the waves, right? Like for audio, it just drops off and it's just nothing. It plateaus for like 5 seconds and then clicks back in halfway through a sentence. So I'm going to try and do as little explaining as possible in this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each player, just show their details, like in case you want to create them, and then I'm going to go through, and after that I'll just show you their attributes. And I'll let you guys pause the video and I'll explain a little bit my reasoning behind it, things like that. So without further ado, let's start. Alright, so we're going to edit player, go to details once it loads up. Alright, so Albin Grew. His play-by-play name was Al because I couldn't find anything similar. Playmaker, center, jersey number is 44. That's just a number I found. That's the same with all these players. It's just I saw it in a picture or in a video, like a highlight clip that I saw of them, and I just picked the number I thought they wore the most. He's 6 feet, 175 pounds. March 22nd, 2001 is his birth date, from somewhere in Sweden. Alright, so I'll just come back, or at least, you guys can pause the video if you want to catch any of this. So we'll get out of here. I shouldn't have put save, I should have just done discard, because that could take a second or two. We'll go to Holtz now, or actually no, I'll show you his stats. He's medium top 6. I have a lot of his offensive stats are kind of boosted a bit because he's a playmaker. He's an offensive player. His faceoffs are 72. I try not to give him overpowered faceoffs or any of my centers. His defensive stats are okay. They're at least serviceable and they're a solid base to go from. His physical category isn't great. I mean, he's 6 feet, 175 pounds, but I mean, it's serviceable, obviously. All right, he's 16, so. All right, now on to Holtz here. Alexander Holtz. His details is what we're showing. So Alexander Holtz, I put his play-by-play name as Holtzer. I figured that was a hockey sort of nickname. Plus, it was the closest thing I could find. Left wing sniper. Preferred jersey number is number 8. I think you can kind of assume why. He's a right-handed left wing wearing number 8. I think there's a few similarities between him and Alexander Ovechkin. His birth date's January 23rd, 2002. He's 6 feet, 180 pounds up there. Born, and I just put him in Stockholm, Sweden. I don't know if that's actually where he was born or not. For the European countries, I just picked, if the city wasn't available, I just put the capital. That's the word I was looking for. And then I'll get into it on North American skaters, about the place of origin and stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to go and show you his attributes. So he's high elite potential. He has good puck skills. Shooting categories up there. His skating's really up there. His defense is serviceable, so he can step right into a lineup. Obviously, his offensive awareness in other senses are up there, so that he'll, like I said, be serviceable and be able to pop right in there. His physical category needs a little bit of work, but it's not too bad. It's serviceable. His durability, I have everyone's durability at 85. It's just a solid base I go off of, because, I mean, most players don't get crazy injured. They're not injury prone or anything, so I just put 85 for all of them. All right, so on to Alex Turk. Edit player. I'll show off his details. Just like Albin Grew, his play-by-play name is Al. I have him listed as a center, two-way forward. How I figured these out, well, this position is, just looking at a stat site, like Elite Prospects. It's usually what I use. The jersey numbers, obviously, they're pictures, videos, things like that. And player type, I usually find through scouting reports or, looking at their stats, you can usually tell. He's 5'11", 185 pounds, born February 26th, 2001, in Detroit, USA. Now, he's the first North American player, so I'll use him as an example. For American-born and Canadian-born players, I just use their place of origin, USA or Canada, because their flag shows up if you do that. If you put the actual state or province they were born in as their place of origin, their flag won't show up. Like the Canadian or American flag won't show up. So I guess the game just doesn't have that intelligence built into it. So I decided to just go with USA or Canada as their place of origin for North American skaters. All right, and now we'll go look at his attributes. All right. So he's a medium top 6. He has pretty balanced stats, like the puck skills are 3.5. His offensive awareness is mid-70s. His defensive his defensive awareness is mid-70s. He's got pretty rounded out defensive category to go along with that. His shooting isn't exceptional, but it's serviceable. His skating category is all right. I mean, that's going to grow, obviously. And just, that's pretty much where I went off. I try to make him as well-rounded as possible, because usually two-way forwards will be well-rounded. They'll have the ability to play offense to some extent, but they're not going to be exceptional at offense. And defense isn't going to be exceptional, but it's going to be pretty good. So that's kind of my rationale for his stats. I think I mentioned it before, but he is a medium top 6. So, yeah, you guys, I assume you all paused and got down his attributes. So, on to the next player. All right, Alex Vlasic. I'm just going to take a sip of water. He's a, look at his details here. He's a two-way defender, as you can see by his picture. He's really big. Luckily, his play-by-play name was available in the game. Defense, preferred jersey number is number 3. We'll go through down here. He's 6'5", 190 pounds. Born June 5th, 2001. Usually the default for my players is two-way defenseman. For defensemen, usually. That's pretty much the default. Chicago, USA is where he was born, so in case you wanted that. And now we'll go and look at his attributes. Sorry if I'm kind of not very lively. I'm just really tired today. I don't know what it was. I just could not sleep last night. But I wanted to get this video out. So with Alex Vlasic, he's a medium top four potential defenseman. You know, just similar to the two-way forward. He's pretty well-rounded. You know, his passing and puck control is decent. His shooting category isn't that great, but it's all right. His skating's okay. His offensive awareness is okay. His defensive awareness is pretty good. So that's kind of, like I said, my gauge for these guys. One thing I will say is I did edit a lot of these players' overalls. I did mess with their attributes because you can probably go back and look, but they used to be quite a bit better. I know, just for example, like Albin Grew, he's 70 overall. I think before he was in his 70s, he was somewhere up there, but I, lowered a lot of them down and screwed with their potentials and things like that, just because I felt like some of these players were overpowered, right? Like I was playing offline GM modes, and I would get a player who's like 74 overall, picked like, or 74, 75 overall, he was picked like 10th, and I mean, the next year he was like 82, 83, 84 overall, like, or somewhere in and around there, and he was just instantly next season in the lineup, like just killing it. And even some of the players, because EA did do a patch somewhere along the line, or a tuner that added better players into drafts. So, some of these players would get pushed out into 14th, 15th overall pick, and they would just instantly, like the next year, 15th overall pick makes the starting lineup. And it's just, it was a little out there, right? Like, I mean, there's going to be the exceptional player where, team got lucky at 13th overall and picked up a really good player that, the next year is, a year post after his draft year, he's making the roster. But I mean, that's the exception. That's not the rule, right? So anyways, off my little tangent, we'll go to Brady Tkachuk and we'll look at him. Oh, details. So his play-by-play name is Brody Tkachuk, or Brady is not available in the game, so I just picked Brody. Center power forward, number 7. You go down here. I have him as a fighter sometimes because he is he's a pretty rough player. 6'3", 195 pounds. He was born September 16th, 1999 in St. Louis, USA. All right, we'll wait a second here, or we're going to move on to the attributes in just a second. You can pause it, like I said. Feel free to at any point, and just kind of skip me talking. My throat's really dry. I might edit those out. Little water breaks. All right, so he's a medium elite. He's mid-80s for some of his stuff. I mean, I've seen him as high as being rated 2nd overall up to like 5th overall. So he's supposed to be a pretty good player. So I have him rated up there with Zadina and, Svechnikov and guys like that. So his puck skills are like low 80s. His shooting categories, like, 3.5 stars, pretty good. His skating's 3.5. His physical's 4 stars. His defense is 3.5, and his senses are 3. So I mean, he's going to be a pretty good player. He's going to be able to step in your lineup, possibly that first year, after his draft year. All right. So on to the next guy. All right, we're going to go into details here. Bodhi Wild. Luckily, Wild is available in the game as a play-by-play name. He's number 52, two-way defender. Nice right-handed two-way defender. Yeah, he's right-handed. He's 6'2", 195 pounds. Born January 24th, 2000 in Montreal, Canada. I feel like he represents USA at a national level or an international level, but yeah, this is where I saw his birthday or his birthplace as, so that's what I put down. All right, and we'll look at his attributes. One thing I did want to add is if you have any questions as to why I put certain players at certain attributes, oh my gosh, why I gave them each player certain skills and certain whatever, why I picked certain things, just ask or comment, if you don't think that say for instance Bodhi Wild, you don't think his defense is as good as I have it, then let me know, tell me, whatever. I try to make him as pretty well-rounded as possible. 2.5 to 3 stars roughly is all of his categories, so he'll be 2-3 years before he enters the NHL. Yep. There's stats, and hopefully you paused, because moving on. All right, Dylan Peterson is our next guy. Look at his details here. He's a center, two-way forward. Preferred jersey number's 19. Looks beautiful. I actually really like the Wahlstrom jersey. He's right-handed center, 6'3", 185 pounds. Born January 8th, 2002 in Los Angeles, USA. All right, we're going to try and pick it up a little bit, actually. It's getting... we're running almost 20 minutes here, so we're going to try and pick this up. I think I just said we're going to try and pick this up like there's more than one person. Yep, right-handed centerman. Medium elite is his potential, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that the last couple guys. I'll go back through and I'll just do a quick other show around. Pretty mid-70s stats and stuff, so that's good. All right, so he's medium elite, and Bodhi Wild was medium top 4. All right, I won't show you. I'll just show you Jeremy Baracco's stats. I just have him added in here because he's not included in the game, and I'm a huge Leaf fan, so I enjoy Jeremy Baracco. All right, over at Jamie Truesdale here. We'll edit him. He's supposed to be, I think, like the 2nd overall pick at in the OHL draft this year, like the upcoming OHL draft. I have his play-by-play name as James because Jamie or Truesdale is not in the game. He's a right-handed two-way defenseman. Where's number 2? He's 5'11", 154 pounds, but he's also only 15, so he'll get bigger. Born April 6th, 2002 in Toronto, Canada. All right, moving on. We'll just show his stats here. Yeah, he's a high top 4. Puck skills are 3.5 down to his skating. 2.5 senses. He's a decent all-around defenseman for the most part. Like that's what I tried to do for most of my two-ways, especially. All right, we're gonna move on. Joel Farabee. He's about a mid-rounder in this upcoming draft. Look at his details here. Joel Farabee. I have his play-by-play name as Fair. Left wing, two-way forward. That's what I have him as player type as in position. He's 5'11", 160 pounds. Born February 25th, the year 2000. New York, USA. All right. Show you his attributes. Oh, sorry about that. All right, we'll go all the way down. All right, yeah, he's medium top 6 forward. Same sort of deal with him. Try to round out his stats as well as possible. He's mid 70s for shot category, or at least the accuracy. Mid to high 70s puck skills, 78 overall offensive awareness, 78 overall defensive awareness, pretty rounded out. And plus he's a pretty undersized guy, so he's all right. Physical, not really, but actually no, not at all. But I mean, that'll get better once he gets bigger. All right. So move on over to Jack Hughes. All right, we'll just look at his details. Obviously Hughes is in the game, so that's awesome. He's a center playmaker. He's supposed to be the first overall pick at next year's draft as well. All right. So he's left-handed, 5'10", 157 pounds, born May 14th, 2001 in Orlando, USA. All right, we'll move on to his attributes. All right, so he's high elite, high 80s puck skills, mid to high 80s shooting, mid to high 80s skating. His offensive awareness is 88, defense is mid 80s. His physical category isn't great, but I mean he's 5'10" and 157 pounds. At least that's the last that I saw. So I mean he's a little small there. But I mean, overall, he's supposed to just step right into the league, similar sort of Connor McDavid type. Not really, not at all. That's a really bad example. Probably similar more to like Tyler Seguin or someone like that. He's supposed to enter the league and just tear up. So, all right, we'll go over here to Jesper Wallstedt. It's kind of an interesting one. He's 14, so I couldn't even put him on a junior team. His details here. The closest play-by-play name I could find was Holtz. Jersey number's 30. We'll go all the way down here. I picked Goalie Stance 3. I find the goalie stances by looking at pictures of them when they're very clearly about to face a shot or something. That's the best I could find for him. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. Born November 14th, 2002 from Stockholm, Sweden. And then the keep colors from traded. I don't really care about that. So we'll move on to his attributes. And I know, by the way, actually, I could totally just go down and look through attributes, but it'd just take a lot more time to scroll through every single player's stats. It's a lot faster to just click a button and show you all their stats all at once. Yeah, he's medium elite, 14 years old. He's pretty big, actually, for 14 years old. I was nowhere near 6'3" at 14. Yeah, he's pretty high 70s to low 80s for most of his stats, just because I mean, he's supposed to be basically a prodigy, so he's supposed to be one of the best goalies, so in a few years. All right, so we're going to move to Keandre Miller. Edit him. We're not actually going to edit him, but we'll look at his details. Yeah, Miller's in the game as you'd expect. He's a defensive defenseman. He wears number 5. He's 6'3", 205 pounds. Born January 21st, 2000 from Minnesota, USA. So he's a pretty big guy. He's a defensive defenseman, so it makes sense. He's not really a big name for this upcoming draft, but I just think that he's, it's important that we add those depth guys. I mean, it is the drafted defenseman, so I feel like not putting in an extra defenseman would kind of rob it of having that title. Yeah, he's just a medium top 6 defenseman. He's left-handed, so it's not even like he's that coveted right-handed defenseman. His puck skills are kind of up there, actually. I think he's a little bit overpowered. I might go in and edit that, and I'll be doing another one of these videos once the next GM mode starts. Yeah, even I think his skating's a little bit too high, but his physical category I'm happy with. His defensive category I'm pretty happy with. His offensive awareness I'm pretty happy with, but I mean, overall, I like his stats, so I think it's fitting for a defensive defenseman. All right, so we're going to show Kasper's Simon Taval. All right, we're going to look at details. Yeah, the closest play-by-play name I could find for him was Simon. He's a right-handed right-wing sniper. He was born, or no, he was born. He is 5'9", 175 pounds, born January 11th, 2002, in Tampere, Finland. All right, so we'll move on here. Go to his attributes. All right, we'll go all the way down. All right, so yeah, he's a sniper, so his puck skills are going to be a little bit high. His shooting category is going to be a little bit high. His skating isn't amazing because, I mean, I don't think it actually is that great in real life. His offensive awareness is good. His defensive awareness is actually maybe a little bit too high, but I mean, he's supposed to be a higher pick, so it's not too bad. And his physical category is kind of what you'd expect from a guy of his stature. Yeah. Oh, and his potential is high top 6. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah, because he's supposed to be anywhere around a top 5 pick to top 10 at the latest. So, or at least that's what it is right now. Obviously this will be updated in the next couple months and in the next few years before he gets drafted. So, all right. Lucas Raymond is the next guy. We'll edit him, or not edit him, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so luckily Raymond is a play-by-play name in the game. He's a right-wing playmaker. We'll go down here. He's 5'10", 165 pounds, born March 28th, 2002, in Göteborg, Sweden. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm not really good with Swedish. All right, so we'll go on to his attributes now. All right, yeah, he's I think he is just medium top 6. Let me just see right here. No, he's a high top 6. Sorry. I have it written down. Yeah, he's a high top 6. He's got decent stats he is a right wing playmaker, right? So his puck skills are pretty high. His shooting category is pretty good. His speed's pretty good. His offensive awareness is good. His defensive is all right. And his physical category is, there's a little bit left to be desired. So, all right, move on to the next guy. And Marco Rossi, I actually don't have him written down here, so I'm just going to double check his attributes. Yeah, he's a high top 6 forward. We'll look at his details though. We have his play-by-play name as Ross. He's a center playmaker. We'll just move all down here. He's 5'9", 155 pounds. Born September 23rd, 2001 in Vienna, Austria. All right, yeah, he's a pretty small guy actually. All right, we'll go to his attributes. All right, yeah, he's high top 6, 16 years old. His puck skills are pretty good. His shooting category is pretty good. His skating's all right. His offensive awareness is good and stuff like that. His defense is not too bad. And his physical category isn't very good. kind of like what you'd expect from a 5'9", 155 pounds center playmaker. So, all right, yeah, we'll move on to the next guy, who is Oliver Wahlstrom. I actually, if you remember, he's that kid from the Boston Bruins little shootout competition thing. He did some crazy move. I forget what it was. It was kind of like a lacrosse style thing. It's really cool, really good. But yeah, Oliver Wahlstrom. I have his play-by-play name as Holtz. He's a right-handed center, or right-handed right-wing sniper. His preferred jersey number is 39. He's 6'1", 205 pounds. Born June 13th in the year 2000 from Portland, USA. All right, so we'll check out his attributes. All right, let's go down here. Yeah, so he's a high top 6. He's supposed to be a pretty high pick in this upcoming draft. Top 5, top 10 latest. So I have him as a high top 6 because he's not good enough to obviously get in that Dahlin category, but he's pretty high up there. His puck skills are pretty good. His shooting's good. Skating's good. Offensive awareness is pretty good. Defensive awareness is all right. His physical category is all right. Overall, pretty good player, though. Pretty well-rounded, I think so. All right, we're going to move on to Quinton Byfield. He's supposed to be one of the top draft picks. He's like, it's an arms race pretty much between him, Holtz, and Alexis Lafreniere to see who takes the top spot. They're all pretty much fighting for first overall. But yeah, Quinton Byfield. His play-by-play name is Byers because there's nothing close enough to it. He's a center power forward, and you'll see why in just a second. So go all the way down here. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. He's a big guy for 15 years old. He was born August 24th, 2002 in Toronto, Canada. And I feel like I should have mentioned this earlier, but if you're ever wondering, the junior teams that these guys play on is totally arbitrary. It literally is not at all real. Most of them, at least. There's a couple of them that, that team will own their rights, but most of them, it's just random. So yeah, we'll move on to his attributes. Quinton Byfield. Yeah, he's a high elite because he is in that, little first overall little race or battle, I guess. It's him and two other guys that are pretty much vying for it. So I have them all as high elites. Lafreniere is high elite in the game as well. But yeah, his puck skills are pretty good. His shooting's pretty good. His shooting's actually really good. His skating's all right, or his skating's pretty good, but not as good as you'd think considering his other stats. His offensive awareness is 85. His defensive awareness is really good as well. His physical category is pretty good. Yeah, everything's pretty good. He's one of those players that can step right in, and that's what I wanted. Right, I wanted the top players I create to be able to step right into the lineup, and the other ones that are later on are not going to be able to just step right into the lineup year 1 or 2. So, all right, we're gonna move on to Quintin Hughes because I saw that he's next. So we'll look at details right here. So Quintin Hughes, his play-by-play name is Hughes, just like his brother. He's a left-handed two-way defenseman. We'll go down here. He's 5'10", 175 pounds. Born October 14th, 1999 in Orlando, USA. So yeah, we'll just leave that up here for another second. And and then we'll go on to his attributes. All right, let's go all the way down here. All right, he's a high top 4 defenseman. His puck skills are pretty good because he's supposed to be kind of offensively minded, but also defensively responsible. So that's why I have him as a 2-way. His shooting category is pretty good for a defenseman. His skating's pretty good. His offensive awareness is pretty high for a defenseman. His defensive awareness is a little bit higher. But, I mean, like I said, he is a 2-way defenseman, so you'd expect his offensive awareness and defensive awareness to be that close. And his physical category is all right, but, I mean, he's 5'10", 175 pounds, so physical isn't really his forte. All right, and we'll move on to the next guy. Oh, I think I did mention it, but he is a high top 4, by the way. Tobias Bjornfot. Oh, he is a really weird play-by-play name. I remember this guy. Yeah, Tobias Bjornfot. His play-by-play name is Bort. Couldn't find a closer name, so that's what I went with. He's an offensive defenseman, jersey number 33. He's 6 feet, 190 pounds. Born April 6th, 2001 in somewhere in Sweden. I don't even want to try and pronounce that. So yeah, we'll move on to his attributes. Go all the way down. He's a medium elite because I think he's supposed to be pretty high up in his draft here, if I'm not mistaken. I try to make him similarly to Adam Boquist. I mean, his puck skills are pretty good. His shooting category is really good. His skating's really good. His offensive awareness is good. But his defensive awareness and his defensive categories are a little bit lagging behind. If they were better, he'd probably be like high 70s, so he'd be able to step right in as a top 6 defenseman at the very least. So yeah. So we'll move on to the next guy, Vitali Kravtsov, and I think he's the second last guy we have. We're going to check out his details here. And I'll do a little bit of explaining for him, especially, in just a second. Because he's a late round pick, but his overall 72. So it's maybe a little bit high. But yeah, Vitali Kravtsov, I was able to find the play-by-play name Vitali. So, yeah, kind of works. Our right-wing sniper. 6'2", 185 pounds. Born December 23rd, 1999 in Chelyabinsk, Russia. It's not his actual birthplace, I don't think. I think I just picked the team that he plays for. I just picked that city. All right, so we'll move on to his attributes, and I'll do a little bit of explaining. Oh, I went a little bit too far there. So yeah, so I have his puck skills and stuff like that high up there. And he is, by the way, his potential is a high top 9 because he is, what tends to happen is guys like Nikita Kucherov and players like that tend to get very undervalued when coming into the draft. So they're going to be rated a lot lower. And I feel like he is, he's already playing KHL hockey. I think he was 11 games played in the playoffs, had 11 points or something like that. Really good season. He was played 30-some games in the KHL as a 17-year-old. So, I mean, he's a really good player. Very skilled. So, and I mean, he's, KHL and leagues like that don't tend to play their really young players. So the fact that he's already in the KHL at 17 says a lot about him. So that's why I have his skills a little bit high. Just because, I feel like that's probably an accurate representation of him as a player. So we'll move on to our last guy here. Well, I will show him, just like I did with Jeremy Bracco. Not available in the game, obviously. He's a KHL player, but he's probably one of my favorite prospects for the Leafs, so that's why I have Igor Korshkov available. Yeah. We'll look at Podkolzin. I'll look at edit player here. We'll go into details. Vasily Podkolzin. I have his play-by-play name as Vlasic, closest I could find. Right-wing playmaker. I'm going to go all the way down here. He's 6 feet, 185 pounds. Born June 24th in the year 2001. From Russia. I forget what his city is, so I'm not going to change it obviously right now, but I don't know why I did that. I just put him as Russia both times, so it is what it is. It's not going to make that big of a deal. And then I'll show you his attributes here in just a second. So he's seen as a medium top 6. I think he's supposed to be anywhere from a high top 10 to a low top 10, I guess, and a high teens guy. So I have him just as a medium top 6. I feel like that's the safest bet. His puck skills are high 70s. His shot is pretty good. His skating's all right. Senses are decent. His defense is all right. Stuff like that. He's just going to be kind of your average run-of-the-mill, middle first round player. Nothing special, nothing crazy. And I think that's going to do it for this video. Remember, actually, I will have a franchise mode out probably tomorrow. That's what I'm planning to do, at least. I'm going to just edit this and upload it, and then I'm going to upload a video tomorrow as well. Thank you guys for being patient. Remember to click like and subscribe, and as always, have an awesome day.